Fantastic. Oh my goodness. Today is going to be amazing. And I'm so excited you all are here. I see lots of friends and faces. I see my coaching clients. Hi. Great to see you all today. And yes, if you have questions about this, and I'm thinking you will, because we are going to go over a lot of content, just type it in the chat. And as I will tell you later, there's other free webinars as a follow-up to this to answer your questions that maybe we didn't get to today because it's only 30 minutes. All right, so I am going to share my screen and we'll get started. I promise you, you'll be glad you came today. I promise you that you will learn something new that you didn't know before today. You're going to be like, huh, I didn't know that. It's going to be great. All right, here we go. So if you follow these steps, you can buy 20 properties in 5 years. And it's not easy and it's worth it. All of these things are true. As always, please do not call anyone on the do not call list when you are looking for rental properties or really for any other reason. Just don't do it. Nobody likes getting those calls. A little bit about me. I am a KW MAPS coach, and I have been a MAPS coach for the last 8 years. I've been a realtor for 21 years, and I have 61 rental units. And they were all purchased within 61 months from March of 2018 to March of this year. And now I teach other people how to buy properties, like accumulate a large portfolio. There's a lot of moving pieces to it, and we're going to kind of water ski through some of those pieces today. I am also a group coach. Within MAPS coaching, we call it being a fast track coach. And the name of my program is Fund Your Big Life with Rental Properties. And it's your fast track to building a rental property portfolio. So again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Today's webinar is a little different than the other webinars that I've done here before. This is like intermediate level. It's not beginner level. It assumes that you already know the basics of finding rental properties and the details of methods to pay for them. So if you don't already know some of these things, just come back to my future webinars to find out. I don't want you to feel lost. And this is not Rental Properties 101. This is like Rental Properties 301. So this session covers quickly an overview of the steps to building a rental property portfolio, and then using a blend of the many ways to pay for the properties as you're building it. And then I'll be putting those two things together to show you how the different ways to pay for properties can help you accumulate many, many rental properties in a short amount of time. And I think 5 years is a short amount of time when you're talking about building a large rental property portfolio. And I always call the day that you have financial freedom through passive income, the finish line. So you'll hear me interchange those terms today, financial freedom day and finish line. Because to me, the day that you don't ever have to get up and go to work anymore is financial freedom, and that's the finish line. I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people who, and some of them say, I'm always going to work. Cool. But wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to? I love that you love to work, and it'd be great if you're like employed optionally, like work is optional. It'd be great. So I'm not going to go, you see on the screen here, many different ways that you can pay for rental properties. And as I said before, this is like level 301. So I'm going to assume that you already know what all of these things are. And I'm just going to read through them quickly just to remind you, because I'm assuming you already know them. And if you don't, there's another whole 30-minute webinar just on this screen. So you can go find it on the MAPS Coaching YouTube channel, Fast Track YouTube channel. So of course, you can get a 30-year loan or a 15-year loan on a primary residence. You could get a 15 or 20 or 30-year loan on a rental property. And you can get a home equity loan with fixed payments on your primary residence. You can get a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. Most of the time, those are a variable rate based on the amount borrowed, and you can get that on a rental property or your primary residence. And you can also get an all-in-one loan that starts out as a purchase and becomes a HELOC after the closing of the purchase. You can pay for properties through hard money lenders, private money lenders, equity partners, seller financing, a 1031 exchange, a qualified opportunity fund. And my favorite, the cash out refi loan, also known as buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat, BRRRR method. Love it. So that's just an overview, a reminder. These are many of your options. There's even more options than this, but this is a few of them. Just a reminder, this is in your toolbox. You can do these. And as I said earlier, this is like just a sample of like a much larger conversation. I do an 8-week group coaching course called Fund Your Big Life with Rental Properties. And if you want to know more about that, you can take a picture of the screen or scan the screen with your phone, or you can follow me on social media at Heidi Fore for more information. We just can't squeeze an 8-hour group coaching course into a 30-minute webinar today. So you are going to learn some really great stuff today, though. I promise you that. And as I go through some of these ideas today, it's going to be normal for your brain to say, oh, well, I can't do that because of XYZ. So just say, okay, brain, okay, I get it. You're scared. You don't want to, you're scared of the unknown, and it's normal. Just stay open-minded and just say, yeah, we could do that. I could probably do that if X, Y, and Z. So again, if there are a lot of questions that come up, you can get them answered either in the chat today or through one of the other webinars. And just stay open-minded today. All things are possible. And that's what we're just going to believe today, that all things are possible. So what I'm showing you today is a path, just one path, one way to get to buying 20 rental properties in 5 years. I bought 60 properties in 5 years. And there are other ways to get there. This is just one. And so, since everybody here, there's like 300 people that are joining us today on this webinar. And so that means there's 300 different situations. So all of the details of what I'm talking about today won't apply to all 300 people that are here today in this webinar. The point is for you to get ideas of what would work for your situation. This plan that I'm walking you through today is written for someone who is planning to make $100,000 next year from their job. If that doesn't describe you, please don't leave. Stay here. There's still going to be good stuff for you. Just adjust your plan. Even though your plan and your path is going to look a little different, just pick and choose the pieces of this plan that's going to work for you. It's still going to be a great value for you today. So for all of us here, all 300 of us here in this webinar today, this is the roadmap to the finish line. If you want to take a picture of the screen, you can. So where you are today, if you're just starting out, is you're just figuring out, what is this path all about? What is the plan? Where is my finish line? What does financial freedom look like for me? And then the next step would be to live on a lean budget and just start learning about buying rental properties if that's the path you choose to get to your finish line. And then you're going to decide on what type of properties to buy, decide where to buy them, block time to look for deals, evaluate the deals, decide on funding, go through the whole purchase process once you've decided how you're going to pay for it, get it ready for renters, rent it out, track the profit from it, save some money in reserves for repairs, increase the value of it, and get advice from professionals, tax professionals, insurance professionals, financial planners, and then repeat all those previous steps enough times until you have enough profit coming in, which you're always tracking, to completely pay for your lifestyle expenses, your personal expenses. And then you can live where you want, do what you want, hang out with who you want, and donate to foundations and organizations that are important to you, or keep working and buy more rental properties. So this is the path that is going to be the basis of our conversation today. So we're going to combine what you see on this screen with all of those different ways, methods to pay for properties. And that's what I'm going to blend together right now for you to show you how this all fits together and how someone could start from where they are right now. They're planning to make $100,000 next year. They already own a house that they live in personally. And this is how they could accumulate a rental property portfolio in the next 5 years. Here we go. Buckle up. I'm going fast. Year one, here's your first thing to do. January of year one is open up a savings account just for emergencies, put money in it, and don't touch it. Open another savings account for buying rental properties. Open a savings account for repairing and improving rental properties. Opening a savings account for paying taxes. This is important that you do this before you start buying properties, because we've got to have money going into all those places. Otherwise, you could really get in trouble down the road. And start getting into a habit of transferring cash into these accounts weekly or monthly. And then just work hard enough to earn $100,000 at your current job or more. If you have a job that pays you more than that, that's awesome. And live on a budget. Yes, I said that word, budget. I know some of you are cringing. It's okay. Breathe through it. a budget of $6,000 a month. You'll be able to put $28,000 a year in savings. If you need more than $6,000 a month to live, you're just going to need to make more than $100,000 in the year, or you're going to end up putting less in savings. Because every time you say yes to something, you have to say no to something else. Or you could start a side hustle, a second job that brings in $2,000 a month. It's $480 a week. There's a lot of jobs out there that you could get where you could bring in $480 a week. And then don't spend that money. Put your second job money into that savings account for investment properties. Don't spend it on yourself. Don't spend it on your nails or watches or bags or shoes. Just save it. And that is like a skill in itself. And then in year one, this is where it starts to get really fun. After you've got those emergency funds and savings accounts set up, here we go. You're currently living in what's going to be rental property unit A. It's where you live now, your primary residence, January of year one. Get a home equity line of credit on it now, but don't use the money yet. Then we're going to go look for unit B, rental property unit B. This is going to be your new primary residence for you to live in for the next couple of years. That would be a good rental property after a couple of years of living there. Preferably one that has an apartment now or could have an apartment later. Maybe it's a single family that could be turned into a duplex. Like it's a single family home where you could rent out the basement, or you could add on apartment to the side, or you could put if it has a detached garage or like a barn in the back, you could put an apartment over that. And that would become unit C. You're going to buy it with a small down payment and a fixed 30-year loan. You can go ahead and buy that duplex or triplex or fourplex as your primary residence. Buy it cheap, fix it up while you live there. If you're a realtor, you can use your commission to do the work, and you'll only be in it for a couple of years. So if it's not your perfect forever home, it's fine. You're only going to be there for a couple of years. It's all part of the plan. Oh, somebody put in the chat a question. Let me just address this. There are a lot of fees for all of those accounts. No, not for savings accounts. There are no fees. In fact, your bank should pay you for savings account. You should earn interest on them. If your bank is charging you for savings account, you're at the wrong bank. You need to go bank shopping. Someone asked, do we get the recording? That answer is yes to that. So unit D is you can purchase from selling a large asset that you own, selling a car that you don't use anymore, an extra car, or do you own a piece of a business that's not that profitable and you could sell it? Do you own a lake house, a boat, an RV? Do you own some expensive stuff? I know some ladies that have bags that cost like $3,000 and they have a lot of them. Like, what could you sell that could be a down payment on a rental property? Think of like, what is the best use of your assets? What is the best use of your money? And in year one, then you've got unit A that was your primary residence. You've moved into now unit B, your new primary residence. Unit C is the extra apartment that's on that property, and D is the rental property you got from selling one of your assets. In year one, there is $0 profit from these rental properties. You're just like moving things around. So I'm just setting this expectation. It's okay if in year one you just make a tiny bit of money or nothing. Does anybody still want to buy rental properties after hearing that there's no dollars of profit? I promise it gets better. It gets better after year one. It's just a building year. Now you want to obviously the plan is to make something. I'm just letting you know that it's okay if in year one, by the time you've moved primary residences and sold the assets and bought the rental property, there's just not much time throughout by the end of the year to actually make some good money in year one. It's okay. That comes later. Just remember this, you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years, and building a rental property portfolio takes time, diligence, perseverance, patience, and discipline. And it's going to look like slow progress, and that's okay. You're successfully replacing your job income with rental property profits. It just takes a while. The profit happens gradually. It's like one step at a time, one conversation at a time. So you just got to keep your eye on that finish line and keep reminding yourself that this plan takes time and it will be worth it. Somebody asked in the chat, does the 100,000 in income have to be on a W-2? No. But talk with a lender in your area. Many times you have to, if it's not W-2 income, you're going to have had that self-employed income for a certain amount of time. In some places, it's 2 years. The requirements vary from bank to bank. So here we go. Year two, you've got A, B.
Can you go back one slide? Sorry, I missed that. real quick.
Take a picture. Okay, and you're going to get the recording, everybody. So if you miss a slide, it's okay. You can watch it later and pause it. So year 2 will be where you get Unit E, and that can be purchased by using the home equity line of credit from Unit A, your former primary residence. And you're going to want to pay that HELOC, home equity line of credit, HELOC, down aggressively so that you can use it again later. And the other reason to pay that down quickly is because a lot of times it's variable rate, and it's just kind of not fun not knowing what that rate's going to be next after it adjusts again. Unit F is going to be purchased through seller financing. If you figured out how to do that, that's another webinar that we have. Unit G could be purchased with the $28,000 savings from your job from year 1 and getting a loan for the rest. So the $28,000 down payment. And I just know somebody right now is going to say, I'm in California and we can't. Oh, look, somebody just said that. I'm in California. The California legislators treat landlords as hardened criminals. Is there a way to make it work in California? Of course, there's lots of investors in California. But I also know that a $28,000 down payment doesn't buy much in California. So if this is you and all you have to work with is $28,000, you may have to get out of California. Just start going east until you can find something that works in your budget. And you may, that's my advice, is just to keep driving as close as possible, but keep driving out from where you are until you find a city that works in your budget. So in year 1, remember, you started that side hustle, that second job. And what that's going to do in year 1 and even in year 2 is just filling up those emergency funds, those savings accounts that we opened up in year 1. So we're not touching that money from the side hustle yet. We're just letting the side hustle fill up those savings accounts, and we'll use it later. So in year 2, the profit still doesn't look great. You're I was just being conservative here with some math, like maybe $7,000, and you may even have to use that for savings, for repairs or improvements or income taxes. So you're not going to, this is not a get rich quick scheme is what I'm telling you. You're not going to all of a sudden after 2 years of looking for rental properties be able to retire. You've got to keep going. This is a plan that builds on itself year after year. So don't get discouraged if after year 2, you're like, gosh, I feel like I've worked so hard for 2 years and all we made was $7,000. It's okay. Breathe. It's going to be fine. Keep going. Year 3 is it starts to get really fun. Unit H, we can purchase through a hard money lender or private money lender and no down payment. Get a HELOC on Unit B before turning it into a rental. Use the HELOC as a small down payment on a new primary residence, which is Unit I. Units J and K it could be a duplex that you buy for $200,000. Yes, there are duplexes you can buy for $200,000 or even less. We see them all the time. Every week, I've got a new one coming into my email of somebody's wanting to sell one. So the down payment on that duplex would be $50,000, which you have already in your savings account from job 1, which was $28,000 that you saved last year, and job 2, which was $24,000 that you saved last year. So you have the money to use for units J and K. See, this is getting fun. And so then in year 3, you've got, again, this is conservative and some estimates, but around $20,000 that comes in after paying for the principal and interest payments on your loans and taxes and insurance. And that could be used for savings or repairs, improvements, or income taxes. So that's year. All right, and we're back. Hopefully you can see my screen now. So after you could sell sell G through a 1031 exchange in order to buy 3 more, which will replace unit G and add unit L and unit M. Yes, this is absolutely possible. I've done everything I've explained to you today. Unit N is purchased from the savings from job 1 in the previous year, and unit O is purchased from the savings from job number 2 from the previous year. So that's year 4. So that takes you all the way up to units A through O in year 4. In year 5, you buy a new primary residence using a small down payment, 30-year loan, and then unit I becomes a rental property when you move out. Then this is the really fun part. You can buy units P, Q, R, S, and T as a package from a retiring landlord. And you'll be able to do that because you now have all of these years of experience that you can show a bank that you know how to buy and manage rental properties and that you would be a good risk for them to take on. And you go to a small local bank and you ask them for a commercial loan. Now, you could also ask the seller to do seller financing on this package of properties that they're selling. I found that working with a small local bank was just as good. The seller gets to just take their money and go, and you're just working with your small local bank to buy that package of houses. Usually in this situation, your small local bank is going to want a 25% down payment to buy this package of houses from a retiring landlord. And that's going to come from the savings from your 2 jobs. Maybe you do some house hacking, like renting out part of your new primary residence. Maybe you do a cash out refinance loan on your paid off properties. Maybe you get a personal loan from a bank, use a HELOC on a property, or sell one of your non-real estate assets that you haven't sold yet. Or you could just get some private money, get a loan from someone that you know for the 25% down payment, and then go to the bank. So those are the ways that you could buy that large package of properties. And if you're like, I don't know where I would find that package of properties, that's in a different course. Come back for that course. That's another 30-minute webinar just in its own on how to find the properties. So in year 5, you're going to have around potentially, depending on any repairs and maintenance items that were done that year, but potentially around $50,000 after your loan payments, taxes, and insurance are paid, that you could use it for the repairs I mentioned earlier, improvements, income taxes. And that takes you through year 5. So by the end of year 5, things are starting to look like they're coming together, like the plan is coming together. We've got the properties acquired. Now we've just got to get them fixed up, looking good, rented out, make sure all the tenants are paying on time. We're putting together like our procedure for collecting rent and tracking the profit. We're making sure we're getting those tax deductions that landlords get, that investors get. So for those first 5 years, I recommend just using the income that comes in on those properties on properties. Don't spend any of the rental property profits on your personal lifestyle. Just keep all that income in an LLC's bank account that you use for repairs and improvements. And make sure you do cost segregation studies to lower your income taxes. So by year 6, you're not buying any more properties in year 6, so there could be $72,000 that comes in, and this is where you get to say, well, maybe I'm just going to work less, or get rid of that part-time job. I don't need it anymore. I don't enjoy it. If that's you. And then the other thing that you could do is just use that money to start to pay down those HELOCs, so that your monthly obligations will be less. Because with HELOCs, you only pay monthly payments on the amount that's still outstanding, which is cool, which is very cool. So someone says, do you have a bank account for each property or all the properties in one account? So you can do it either way. Accountants would rather you have every property owned by an LLC, and every LLC has their own bank account. And an accountant also might say it makes sense for you to just make your own property management company LLC that manages all the properties and just use that bank account. So I am not an accountant, and you should definitely ask your accountant that question. So here's what you do next. So let's pretend you've got all this locked down. You're going to increase your rent annually, and eventually the rent will outpace the operating expenses and loan payments enough to hire a property manager, and you're still going to get your $6,000 monthly, which you've learned to live on. And if you decide to increase your lifestyle, you just add another property, and you're going to keep working your job or jobs, that you love, because you really enjoy it and you like buying properties and improving the properties, and you like traveling to nice places. So that is that's what happens in year 6 and 7. So this is how it all flows together. So we've talked through really most of these steps all the way up to this part, get advice from professionals. because we've talked about tracking the profit, saving money in reserves, increasing the value. And by increasing the value would be like maybe adding a storage unit to one of the properties and charging rent for that, adding a garage to a property, charging rent for that. Maybe it's adding a washer and dryer to a property, but it's to a fourplex, but it's coin operated. And so you're making money from that. So those are like ways to increase the value on properties, increase the income from properties. And just keep getting advice from professionals, coaches like me, mentors you might be listening to on podcasts, and your tax advisor, your CPA, your financial planner. And then just keep repeating all these steps until you're like, yes, I have enough money to hire a property manager. I never have to work again. It's completely passive income. I just get checks in my account and my property manager handles everything. And I go into in depth on each of these steps on the screen here in my MAPS coaching course, Fund Your Big Life with Rental Properties. It's $398. It lasts 2 months. Each month is $199 a month, 2 months. And at the end of those 8 weeks, you will have so much clarity on each of these steps that you will have the confidence to go buy your rental properties, build this portfolio. Maybe it takes you longer than 5 years. Maybe you want more than 20 properties. Maybe you want to do it sooner than 5 years. Cool. Come to this class. It's only $398. So if everything goes well, you'll make much more than that on rent in a month. And it'll be a good investment of your time and money. And you'll learn from someone who's done it. All the things you see on the screen here, I've done, and I have detailed systems that I'll share with you on how to do it efficiently, how to do it better. So here is the info on the class. Today was just a sample of all of the things that we cover in it. And you can follow me on social media and join any future webinars that I do. You'll find out there when they are if you follow me on socials. And I hope I see you in class. All right, I'm going to jump into the chat right now and see if I can answer some of these questions before we head out. Okay, so someone asked the question, will the recording be emailed to us? Yes. This is interesting and helpful. This 5-year plan is my 10-year plan, and that is okay. Good. Good job, Nicole. Love that you have a plan. All right. Can you share what you did differently from this to obtain 61 in 5 years? Sure. I did all of these steps, and I just worked really, really hard. I made more than $100,000 a year. I did live on $6,000 a month. We did all of those things of moving every couple of years. And I used seller financing. I used the loans at the bank. I every day just became like obsessed with finding properties and figuring out how to pay for them. I spent like 2 or 3 hours a day on it. So I did all these things. I just did it, more of it, more activities. All right, so someone else said, do you have a state you like for LLCs? So my attorney told me to use a Wyoming LLC for the property that holds the LLCs that hold all the other properties, if that makes sense. There are some really good YouTube webinars and webinars by attorneys that will tell you the whole like structuring advice for the LLCs that hold rental properties. Do you buy in different areas to diversify the risk of a catastrophic loss? Mostly I buy in Indiana. I have owned in Kentucky. I've owned some in Costa Rica. I currently have one in Florida. But mostly I like the Midwest for cash flow. I just like Florida for short-term rental income for a vacation home. Oh, Marielle, thanks. I'm a client of Heidi. She's the best. Thanks. Jason Greer, do current interest rates affect this plan? Well, sure, because if you find something that cash flows now, and then you refinance later, if interest rates go down by 1% or 1.5%, your cash flow is going to be better later. You'll get to your finish line faster, and you can still find properties that cash flow even at today's interest rates. We do it all the time. All right, I'm interested in registering for the class. What are the times? How do the classes work? They are once a week for 8 weeks. And if you click on that on the screen, you will get all the information on what the time is in your time zone. They're on Tuesdays. Thank you for being here. It looks like that's all the questions today. And I look forward to seeing you in a future class. Thanks, everyone. Bye.